Hello everyone, myself Vinay Kumaram. I am pursuing PhD in physics. So in this particular YouTube channel, I'll be teaching physics, chemistry, and mathematics starting from 8th standard till 12th standard. So if you want to learn physics, chemistry, and mathematics, then please do subscribe to my channel. So till now, I was teaching the 5th chapter of 9th standard mathematics. From this video onwards, I'll be teaching the 6th chapter of 9th standard mathematics, that is on lines and angles. So in previous chapter, we have learned that 2 points, if you take 2 points in a plane, and if you connect these 2 points, then you will form a straight line. So a straight line can be drawn between 2 points. Now if two straight lines are intersecting with each other, then they form a certain angle between them. For example, if we have one straight line like this, and if we have another straight line like this, so at this point these two straight lines are meeting with each other and they are forming an angle here. So this is an angle between two straight lines, and on the other side also they are forming angle. So these angles are formed only when two straight lines intersect or meet at a particular common point. So in day-to-day life, if you take different objects which you see around you, you can see there is various angle formation between two plane surfaces or between any two objects. So you can see here in your house there will be a wall and there will be floor like this. So now between the floor and the wall there is angle formation. Most probably it will be 90-degree angle formation. Similarly, if you take ray diagram in physics, for example, if there is a plane mirror surface like this, so the light ray which falls on this particular mirror surface will be reflected backwards, and if you draw a normal for at this particular point, then in order to calculate the incident angle and the reflected angle, you have to draw this particular imaginary line like this. So when you draw this, this acts as the normal which is perpendicular to the surface, and the angle, so this normal is also straight line and this particular light ray is also straight line, and these two straight lines and even the reflected ray meet at this particular point, and there is an angle formation between this normal and incident ray and normal and reflected ray. So that means in physics also, if you want to study the reflection of light rays or if you want to study refraction of light rays, you need angles knowledge. So now after knowing about angles, if you draw a particular line segment, so always remember a line segment will have endpoints like this, that is A and B. So that means this particular line has been terminated at A and at B. So this is part of a long straight line. So that's why this is known as line segment. And if this line segment is extended further, for example, if you take A and B over here, and from these points, if this line is still extended like this, so this can be generally known as line. So this commonly it is known as line, and this particular diagram is known as line segment. So line has a non-terminating ends which continues to be infinitely long. So from on the both the ends, this particular line extends for infinitely. If this particular line is extending infinitely on both the ends, then this can be known as a straight line or simply line you can call this. If a part of this line is taken and this particular line is ended at A and B, means this particular line if it has terminating points, then this can be known as line segment. If a particular line has one terminating point and on another side if there is an arrow like this, that means it is extending even further. So this can be known as a ray. So a ray has one terminating point and the other point it is not terminating, it is just keep on moving. Now in this particular straight line, if both the ends are moving infinitely, then that can be known as just line. If line is terminated at 2 points, that is starting point and the ending point, then that particular line can be known as line segment. If I write AB and if I just draw bar over AB, then this AB and bar over AB indicates line segment. So this indicates line segment. Now if I write a small line over AB and if I end it with two arrow marks like this, that means this is not a line segment. This doesn't have endpoint. It is extending infinitely on both the ends. So this can be just known as line, or it can also be known as a straight line. Now if I write AB and if I draw a ray over AB with one terminating point and arrow on the other side, then this is known as ray. So generally this is line segment AB, this is line AB, this is ray AB. So this is how you have to denote for different lines, whether it is just straight line or whether it is a line segment or whether it is a ray. So now if two rays are making an angle like this, so the common meeting point of these two rays, are known as vertex. So you should remember this. Vertex is the common meeting point of two different rays which are forming an angle between each other. So here you can see between these two rays an angle is formed, and the meeting point of these two rays are known as vertex, and this rays which are forming angles, so this rays which are forming angles are generally known as arms of the angle. So this is an angle, so this is an angle, so two rays are forming this angle, so these two rays are known as arms of this particular angle, and meeting point of these two arms are known as vertex. So these terms you have to remember. So here you have to remember vertex, you have to remember angle, and you have to remember arms. So if we draw a straight line like this and there are few points on this straight line like A, B, C, D, then if all these 3 points are on the same straight line, then all these 3 points A, B, C, D are known as collinear points. So all these points are known as collinear points. Now if I take one more straight line and there is one E point on this straight line and F point is somewhere here and G point is somewhere here, then here E, F, G are non-collinear points. So that means they don't lie on the same line. So if they lie on the same plane, then if they lie on the same line, then they are known as collinear points. If they don't lie on the same line, then those points are known as non-collinear points. These terms also you have to remember. So in your previous classes, you have learnt about angles, acute angle, obtuse angle, and different kinds of angles. So we'll recall that if two rays are making angle between them, which is less than, so let's say x is the angle between these two lines, these two rays. So this x, if it is greater than 0 degree and if it is less than 90 degree, then this angle is known as acute angle. So this angle is known as acute angle. Similarly, if the angle between two rays is equal to 90 degree, so if I take this as x which is equal to 90 degree, then this is known as right angle. So this is known as right angle. So if two rays form an angle which is greater than 90 degree and less than 180 degree, then this kind of angle can be known as obtuse angle. So these kind of angles can be known as obtuse angles. Now if a particular angle is forming between two rays where these two rays has a common point over here and they are making 180 degree, that is angle between these two rays are equal to 180 degree, this is generally known as straight line, because here angle between these two rays is becoming equal to 180 degree. So that means this becomes a straight line. Now if the angle between these two rays, if you are taking the other part of the rays like this, and if that angle is greater than 180 degree and less than 360 degree, so this angle is greater than 180 degree but less than 360 degree, then this angle is known as reflex angle. So this angle is known as reflex angle. Now we will discuss about pair of angles. That means here two angles will have common vertex. How two angles will have common vertex? For example, if I take three rays like this, 1, 2 and 3. So here if I name this as A, B, C and the common point as D, then here you can clearly see two angles are there. One is ADB and the other is BDC. So this is one angle and this is another angle. And you can clearly see ADB angle also has D as its vertex, that is common meeting point of two rays. And BDC angle, this particular angle is also having D as the common point. So that means D is acting as the common point for both ADB and BDC. So if a particular two pair of angles have common vertex, if two angles have common vertex, if two pair of angles have common vertex, then those angles are known as adjacent angles. So here these two angles, that is ADB and BDC, are known as adjacent angles because these two angles have common point, common vertex, that is D. So if two pair of angles have common vertex, then those two angles are known as adjacent angles. Now I'll take a particular right angle like this, and there is one more ray passing from this vertex like this. So here one angle will be created and here one angle will be created. Here also pair of angles are there and these pair of angles. So let us call this also as ABCD. So here ADB and BDC. So these two angles are adjacent angles because they have common vertex, that is D. So after having common vertex, after a pair of angles having a common vertex, and if you add those two pair of angles, if it is equal to 90 degree, because here this particular DB ray is intersecting the AC angle. So that means initially I took AC, that is ADC, that is the right angle. So that right angle, this DB is actually intersecting that particular right angle. So that means here ADB plus BDC will be equal to 90 degree. Here ADB and BDC are the adjacent angles, and if these adjacent angles sum is equal to 90 degree, so adjacent angles, sum is equal to 90 degree. So then these kind of angles are known as complementary angles. So these kind of angles are known as complementary angles. So this is one more term which you have to remember. Similarly, if you consider a straight line like this, and if there is a ray on this particular straight line, and the point where this particular ray's end is touching on this straight line, you can call this as O. So A, B, and here C is there. So here also one angle is created, that is AOC, and one more angle, that is COB. Since AOB is a straight line, this is forming, the AOB is forming 180 degree. So that means AOC, so this is also symbol for angle, AOC plus COB. If these two adjacent angles, so here also O acts as the vertex of these two angles, and vertex of these two angles is lying on the same straight line. So here AB is a straight line and this vertex is lying on that particular straight line. So that means here AOC plus COB will be equal to 180 degree, and these two are adjacent angles. So that means here adjacent angles, I'll just write ADJ. So adjacent angles sum is equal to 180 degree. So if adjacent angles sum is equal to 180 degree, then they are known as supplementary angles. So then they are known as supplementary angles. So now you should remember this one term also, and also remember the difference between complementary angles and supplementary angles. So these two angles are also known as linear pairs. So there is one more term here which is known as linear pairs, because here you are forming, because these two angles are equal to, if you are taking sum of these two angles, then that is equal to 180 degree. So that means those two non-common lines. So here whenever you take these two angles, whenever you take adjacent angles, so here this particular CO is known as common ray, or you can simply call it as common arms, because these are also known as arms of angles. So OC acts as common arm, AO and OB acts as non-common arms, because here OC is the common arm for both AOC and COB. That means two angles also have OC as the common arm. Even in previous examples for complementary angles, here DB, this particular DB acts as the common arm. DA and DC are non-common arms, that is different arms of different angles, but DB is common for both the angles. So here AO and BO, in this particular supplementary angles, AO and BO are non-common arms, and here sum of these two pairs of angle, that is AOC and COB, is giving you 180 degree. So that means if you are adding AOC and COB, that is equal to 180 degree. That shows here this is forming a straight line. Non-common arms are forming a straight line. Hence this particular supplementary angles also form a straight line for non-common arms. So that's why these two angles are also known as linear pairs, and they are also known as supplementary angles. Now we will take two different lines which are intersecting with each other and which are not intersecting with each other. So like this. So these are intersecting lines. These are non-intersecting lines. So how to confirm that these two lines are not intersecting? So for that you have to calculate the distance between these two lines. So you have to calculate distance from this end, from this end, from this end. So that means here if you consider this as L, M, N, and if the length of L, length of M and length of N all are equal, then these two lines will not meet each other at any given point in plane. So that means if these two lines are extended infinitely, still they won't meet anywhere. They maintain the common distance throughout the extension. So that means these two lines are known as parallel lines. So these two lines are known as parallel lines, and the perpendicular lines which you are drawing between these two parallel lines should have same length, that is L is equal to M is equal to N. Even you can take infinitely many perpendicular lines, but all those lines will be having same distance or same length, and these two lines are known as intersecting lines, and these two lines are known as non-intersecting lines. Even if you take one line like this which are not intersecting, still the chances of intersection of these two lines are there, because these two lines are not terminating. These two lines have arrow mark on both ends. So that means these two lines are non-terminating. That means it extends infinitely like this. So that means at some point these two lines will meet each other. So this is all there in this particular video. Based on all this knowledge which you have got in this particular video, based on this, we will be looking into axioms and theorem which is there in this particular chapter in the next video. Until then, if you want to learn more physics, chemistry and mathematics starting from 8th standard till 12th standard, then you have to subscribe to my channel. Please do subscribe to my channel and stay tuned with my channel. Thank you.